And now, Death Valley Days. Howdy, folks. I'm the old ranger, and I have another interesting true story for you about the historic Death Valley country. Tombstone, Arizona, the town too tough to die. There have been countless tales about this famous old mining camp. One that's a favorite of mine is the story of a Chinese by the name of Quong Kee. Quong Kee earned his place in the sun all right, but after all he had done to help other folks, it must have been hard for him to become a county charge in his old age.
Pardon me. Have I the honor of addressing Mr. Quong Kee? My name is Moran, from Massachusetts. Glad to know you, Mr. Kee. Oh, I've heard a lot about you, and all of it was the best.
Please, sit down.
Oh, thank you. I understand you lived in Tombstone back in the wild and woolly days. Ran the best eating place between El Paso and the coast.
Food at Can restaurant, most excellent.
Oh, yes. Everybody that was anybody ate there, right?
Everybody is somebody.
Yes. Oh, I'm sure this man was one of your customers. Arthur Gresham. You remember him? Young fellow from Boston. Came out west right from college to manage the mining interests for his family.
So now he become honorable senator.
Well, he's running for office. They say he met his wife in Tombstone. Picked her out of a dance hall. Is that true?
Tombstone, very big camp those days. Many thousand people.
She's a very beautiful woman, even now. I could well believe that she was at one time an entertainer. The name is Anne. Does that ring a bell?
A bell?
Yeah. Refresh your memory. Surely it caused some gossip at the time. Think back.
Too long ago. Quong Kee cannot remember.
Would $1,000 help jog your memory a bit?
You offer me money?
Now look, Mr. Kee. It's most important that the voters in this senatorial election know all the facts about the candidates. No. You'd be performing a public service if you could give us that information. $5,000? $10,000?
So sorry, mister. But Quong Kee, very old man. Remember nothing.
Senile old man.
But Quong Kee do remember, as if it were yesterday, that day, 1881, when he first arrived in Tombstone. Walk along Allen Street, look at all the signs. Alam, me Quong Kee, just arrived Tombstone. Look for job.
Come in. Come in.
Only one thing is better than one Chinese. It's a two Chinese, you see?
By the time you get through working here, you feel like 4 Chinese. Busboy, waiter, dishwasher, bouncer.
That's all right.
Can never closes. Open round the clock. 5 a.m., always big rush. Crowd come in from Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace on next corner. Sure.
Biggest gambling house saloon in Tombstone. They win money, come in for late supper. Steak, ham and eggs.
Why not quail on toast?
Quail?
If they have the price to pay, the mountain around Tombstone is full of quail. All we do is send out the hunter. Bring back venison too, maybe. We serve food no other restaurant have. Delicacy.
Quong Kee, right now I raise your wages.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to Pop Can. Sit down. Sit down. Welcome. Good evening.
It's good morning.
Good morning.
You see? He agrees with me. Good old alum.
That isn't alum.
What are you trying to do, Johnny Howard? Pick a fight? Sure, it's alum.
Me, Quong Kee.
Quong Kee, alum, what's the difference?
Sit down, Nick. You need some hot coffee and some fruit inside of you.
Me fetch.
Anna Belayev, Queen of the Crystal Palace. When are you going to give me an exclusive interview for my paper?
Well, no time like the present.
I said exclusive, sweetheart. Just you and me. No bean eaters.
I rather like beans.
You? A Russian? A subject of the Tsar?
What do you know about the Russians?
I'm willing to find out. They say, scratch a Russian.
Take your hands off of her.
You mind your own business, Mr. Gresham.
You heard me. I said leave this girl alone.
Why don't you sit down?
I'm giving you fair warning.
I said for you to sit down.
So
You
sorry.
clumsy heathen.
So sorry. Missy, maybe more better you sit over there where tablecloth is not soiled.
Thank you.
Cannot enjoy food unless everybody is friendly. Anger kill the appetite. Quong Kee have a special treat for you. Fresh quail on toast.
Thank you for your escort, Art.
It's all wrong.
What's wrong?
That you have to put up with bounders like Nick Durst.
He was drunk.
Well, that's what I mean. Treating you like common property. It makes me boil.
You're very sweet. But don't worry, I can handle them. These men, they never get very far.
It's all wrong.
You said that before.
I'd like to smash this thing.
Oh, and deprive me of my living, don't you dare.
And I'd marry you and take you out of the Crystal Palace, away from Tombstone, back to Boston with me.
Art,
For 2 cents, I would.
you're very sweet. I said that before, didn't I? We're growing repetitious. And it's growing very late. The stars are fading. Good night, Art.
Hey, when did that happen? The sign outside.
Oh, why you away on trip?
You're one of the proprietors now?
Honorable junior partner.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And I congratulate you, too, Alan.
Thank you. Business have big boom at Can. Food like nowhere else in Tombstone.
Speaking of food, white tablecloths. I feel as if I were in the Parker House in Boston. Do you know what I'd order if I were there now? I'd order me a big, beautiful boiled lobster.
With melted butter.
with melted butter. What kind of magic is this? Where'd it come from?
Guaymas, Mexico.
Quong Kee's idea.
I say to myself, in middle of desert, what do customers want most? What is hardest to get? Fish. So I make arrangement to have fish and fleshy lobster shipped in from Gulf of California by fast stage.
Well, I'll be darned.
Please, we fix.
Wait till my mother finds she can get fresh lobster in Tombstone.
Your mama come here?
Yeah, she's arriving next week.
Very good.
Well, I've rather mixed feelings. Have you ever met a proper Bostonian, Quong?
I meet you, Mr. Gresham.
Oh, no. No, I'm a far cry. But Mother is the very essence of Boston. Beacon Hill personified, with a little of Bunker Hill thrown in.
Very fine lady.
Yes, indeed. She's coming out to inspect the holdings my father left her, and which I manage.
We make her welcome.
Quong, I have an idea. I'm putting my mother up at my place. It's quite comfortable for bachelor quarters, but the matter of meals.
Oh, she eat here in Can-Can.
Can food, but served at home.
Serve at home?
It would be much pleasanter for her than eating out, and it's only a couple of blocks away. Would you mind sending meals in to her?
Oh, not send, Mr. Gresham. Take. Mushroom under glass.
In the desert? Mercy.
It's imported. May I serve, madame?
Yes, thank you. Parker House rolls. Gracious. I'm absolutely amazed, Quong. I'd understood that Tombstone was a wild, disreputable camp. I never dreamed I'd find such courtesy and such exquisite service. Double damask. You know, I feel far happier in my mind about my sons living here.
What's the idea? Cutting an old friend.
Hello, Nick.
You're not Mrs. Arthur Gresham yet.
How dare you?
Oh, come on now. Everybody knows you're trying to land him.
You drink too much, Nick.
Spoken like a mother. Give me another, Andy. Have you met her yet?
Who?
Old Plymouth Rock. I didn't think so. Why don't he introduce you to her? Because she holds the purse strings, and any little thing like a misalliance and she'll cut 'em off. So don't go getting your hopes up, Galabushka.
I am not interested in discussing the Gresham family.
Good. Then let's talk about you and me. Bring lady a drink, bartender.
No, please.
Oh, come on now. Have a drink with me.
Let's get something straight, Nick. I don't want to have a drink with you. I don't like you or your attentions. Do I make myself quite clear?
Quite.
Then please let me go. I've work to do.
So have I. I've got a column to write. It's going to be a beaut.
Forward.
What do I think of Tombstone, Mr. Durst? Well, of course, it's very different to Boston. I could say that about New York or Chicago.
One, please. No cream. The people here, how do they impress you?
Everyone I've met so far has been charming to me.
Art's introduced you to his friends?
Some of his business acquaintances.
No ladies?
Are there any ladies in Tombstone?
Well, now you've put me on the spot, Mrs. Gresham. There are women here of the so-called frail sisterhood.
That's putting it very kindly.
I'm very glad you've come out here, Mrs. Gresham. I think it's a good thing for Art.
What do you mean?
Well, when a fellow's alone and far away from home, he's apt to lose his sense of values.
Mr. Durst, are you implying that my son is attracted to some dance hall girl?
The Crystal Palace isn't a dance hall.
Crystal Palace?
That's where she works. It's a saloon and gambling house.
Merciful heavens.
In all fairness to Art, she's the one who's pursuing him. But then these foreigners are clever.
A foreigner?
Yes, Russian. Anna Belayev. She's probably after his money.
My money? Pardon me, that was very ill-bred.
How did we get on this subject? Oh, yes, I was asking you your impression of Tombstone.
I don't know why I'm telling you all this, Quong. Except you're one of the few people in Tombstone who knows my mother and knows Anne.
Both a very fine lady.
If they'd just get together, I'm sure everything would work out. But Anne absolutely refuses to meet her.
Maybe story in newspaper make her shy away.
What story?
The story just come out today.
I haven't seen today's paper.
I have copy.
Boston was never like this. Grande Dame of Beacon Street deplores social conditions in Tombstone. Calls it a town of deadfalls. What? Large rough element. Are there any ladies? She doubts it. I can't believe Mother ever said such things. She's too well bred. Can I take this home with me?
Certainly, Mr. Gresham.
Why, this is dreadful. This is yellow journalism.
Then you didn't say these things?
Well, yes, I did after a fashion, but he's twisted my remarks.
You should have never given him an interview.
Well, I didn't realize I was being indiscreet. I don't even know what a deadfall is. I shall insist on a published retraction.
Well, the damage is done now, Mother. Explanations would only get you more involved.
I'm sorry if I've caused you embarrassment, Arthur.
I'll live it down.
Perhaps you won't have to, dear. You know, I've been thinking it might be well to put a manager in here in your place.
Why? What's the matter with the job I'm doing?
Oh, nothing, dear. Everything's running beautifully. So now somebody else can take over and allow you to return to Boston.
And suppose I prefer to remain in Tombstone?
You've been exiled long enough, Arthur, from your own kind.
Anne, you've got to let me talk to you. This is the first chance I've had to be alone with you in days. I think you're avoiding me. Why?
What is there to explain?
Well, Mother's background is pretty rigid and, well, conventional. The girls she knows don't work.
Then I should hate to put her to the strain of meeting me.
She'll love you, Anne, once she gets to know you.
I don't intend meeting your mother, Art, under any circumstances.
Anne.
Because I don't intend to marry you.
I've bungled this thing horribly, talking like a snob. Anne, please, don't go.
I'm sorry. My customers are waiting.
Now, you run along until tomorrow.
What did you give them?
Chinese sweet meat.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could all be made happy so easily?
Missy unhappy?
I'm leaving Tombstone, Quong. I've just served notice at the Crystal Palace. This is my last week.
Where you go?
I don't know. I'd like to make a fresh start. Try something entirely different. But, well, this is the only thing I know how to do. And I have to earn a living.
Tombstone is not such a bad place.
Well, you've certainly done all right here. And I'm glad. You deserve it, Quong. You're everybody's friend.
Quong Kee requests honorable presence, Madam Gresham, at private dinner Can Restaurant to celebrate his altogether ownership this establishment. Friday night, 8 o'clock.
Oh, good morning, Dominique.
Good morning, Judge.
I see you're among the elect.
You received one, too.
Yes, I did. I'm going to accept.
I'm deeply touched to be included. I admire Quong's religion.
I don't even know what Quong's religion is.
Love of mankind.
Quong Kee for dinner for a few select friends. Occasion a celebration. Hope you come.
Well, I don't feel much in the mood for celebrating, Quong.
Judge Bond of District Court say yes. Reverend Endicott Peabody of St. Paul Church. Mayor Thomas, Dr. Housebrook, Professor Ames, Madam Gresham.
My mother's accepted?
Great pleasure.
Oh, well, then, of course. I'll escort her.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Quong Kee requests honorable presence, Miss Ann Bailey, at private dinner Can Restaurant to celebrate his altogether ownership this establishment. Friday night, 8 o'clock. Why not accept? It'll be my swan song to Tombstone.
Well, I think that's a beautiful job. Yeah. Oh, yes, it's about 3 weeks ago. Everybody was satisfied.
I received my education at Cheltenham and Cambridge.
I have a confession to make, Dr. Peabody.
That's what clergymen are for, Mrs. Gresham.
I didn't even know there was a church in Tombstone, let alone Episcopal.
Oh, we have churches of several denominations.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
Quong Kee very happy to welcome guests tonight. This party have two reasons. One, to celebrate new ownership of a Can restaurant.
Here, here.
Two, to show gracious visiting lady, Tombstone is not all wild and woolly. Splendid people here. Eminent judge, a young divine, honorable mayor, beloved doctor, professor, School of Mine, accomplished musician, Miss Ann Bailey, virtuoso on instruments which have place in Chinese culture, known today as accordion, in ancient China, Cheng. To all here, long life and happiness.
To our host, Quong Kee, a good friend.
To Quong Kee.
A girl like that should be in Boston, not wasting her talents on the desert air.
You think so, Mother?
She's exquisite. Such poise. I don't see how she escaped you, Arthur.
Oh, she hasn't. I've asked her to marry me.
I can see what her answer was. You have my blessing, Arthur.
Could Quong Kee ever forget?
Quong Kee died at the age of 97 in the county hospital at Bisbee. Poor, one of the richest men in the Southwest, in Friends. The procession that followed him to his last resting place at Tombstone was a mile long. Among the distinguished people who came to pay him tribute was ex-Senator Arthur Gresham and his beautiful wife, Ann. If you visit Tombstone today, you will see on Boot Hill the grave of Quong Kee, once proprietor of the Can restaurant, the little Chinese who loved his fellow men.